Good morning, student. I'm Reshma Jain from the Department of Computer Science and Engineering, SART, Bhopal. Today we are going to learn about the project management. We are discuss here. The topic is engineering and production stage. As you know all about in engineering stage and production stages. Basically, in engineering stage, to achieve economics of the scale and higher return on investment, we must move software manufacturing process, which is determined by technological improvement, process automation, and component-based development. There are two stages in the software development process. The very first stage is the engineering stage. It is less predictable, but smaller teams doing design and production activities. In this stage, we it is why it is not less it is less predictable because we are doing planning here only. So this stage is decomposed into two distinct phases, that is inception and elaboration. In inception phase, the concept and idea has incepted, and that idea we are going to detail on elaboration phase. Now, second stage is the production stage. So this is more predictable, but larger teams doing construction, test, and deployment activity. In this stage, more people's required doing development, constructions, and deployment activities. This stage is also decomposed into two distinct phases, that is the construction and transition. This is the table. The table shows the two stages of life cycle, engineering and production. So there are three columns are there. The first is life cycle aspect, second is engineering stages emphasis, and third one is production stage. So risk reduction in engineering stage, schedules are there, technical and feasibility. These are comes under the risk reductions in engineering stage, and production stage cost comes under the risk. Products in engineering stage, product are architecture baseline, and in production stage, product release baseline. Activities, analysis, designing, planning, in these activities are in under the engineering stage, and testing is doing in the production stage. Assessment in the engineering stage, we are going to assess our work by demonstration, inceptions, and analysis. In production state, assessment are doing with the help of testing. Economics in engineering stage, we can improve our economic by resolving diseconomics of scale. Or in case of production stage, we can improve our economics by exploiting economies of the scales. Management in engineering stage, emphasis on management on planning, and production stage management on the operations, right? So these four phases of the life cycle process are loosely mapped to the conceptual framework of the spiral model that is shown in the following table. Four phases of the life cycle, as you know, engineering stage, inception, and elevations comes under the engineering stage. The production stage, construction, and transactions in the production stage. So circle in idea is very tiny circle are there. In the architecture, that idea will grown up. So the circle, the spiral is going to be big. In the construction phase, it is as bigger as compared to elaboration phase, and in the transition phase, it is bigger. So this is the four phases of the life cycle. Now next is in our figure, the size of the spiral corresponding to the inactivity of the respect to the breadth and depth of the artifacts that have been developed. This interior manifested itself maintaining artifacts consistency, regressions, the documentations, quality analysis, and configuration control. Increase interior may have little or at least very straightforward impact on any given discrete component or activity. So very first phase is the inception phase. So let us see what is inception phase. The main goal of this phase is to achieve agreement among the stakeholders on the life cycle objectives for the project. Primary objectives of the inception phase are establishing the project scopes and boundary conditions, distinguishing the critical use cases of the system and the primary scenarios of the operations, demonstrating at least one candidate architecture against some of the primary scenarios. And in the inception case, estimating cost and schedules for the entire project. Or we can also estimate the project potential risk. What are the essential activities are doing in the inception case? The activities are formulating the scope of the project, synthesizing the architecture, planning and preparing a business case. Now, next phase is the elaboration phase. So it is related to the inception phase. So it is the most critical phase among the 4 phases. Depending upon the scope, size, risk, and freshness of the project and executable architecture, prototype built in on one or more iterations. At most of the time, process accommodate changes. The elaboration phase activities must ensure that the architecture requirement and plans are stable. The primary objective baseline, the architecture are rapidly as practical, baselining the vision, baselining a high reliability plan for the construction phase, demonstrating that the baseline architecture will support vision at a risk cost in a reasonable time. Essential activities, what we are going to perform in the elaboration case, we are going to elaborating the vision, elaborating the process and infrastructure, elaborating the architecture and selecting component. Construction phase. During this phase, all the remaining components and application features are integrated into the application, and all features are thoroughly tested. Newly development software is integrated wherever required. If it is a big project, then parallel construction increments are generated. Thank you all.